Hey guys, what's going on? We're back with another Mustang Mach-E video. This particular model, the Mustang Mach-E GT. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you have a Mach-E, let us know what model you've got below, and if you have any comments on the video today, we'd appreciate it. So what I'm here today to talk about is the audio system. This particular model and all of the Mach-E's have a Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's a 10 speaker system, 560 watts. What's kind of unique about this is you can see the speaker is almost more like a sound bar up front. The grill kind of continues on. It's got the B&O badging up in the corner there. So it's got a couple tweeters and a mid-range driver on the sound bar. And then in your doors, all the way around, you've got the B&O branded door speaker with the mid-range there. In the back, kind of tough to see in the back seat. If you can just see on top of the door panel there, there you go. There's the tweeter, and then the driver is just below that. And then in the very back is a subwoofer. And they call the subwoofer, I don't know if it must be some kind of proprietary technology, but it's a coupled system. What they claim by that is their use of a smaller enclosure in order to get better bass response by utilizing the acoustics and the available cubic foot space inside of the vehicle. So there's a lot of research that goes into that on how you can sort of acoustically play off of that. What's interesting to me is this actually has pretty good bass response. I always think of sort of a benchmark for me being my home stereo system. I have an SVS subwoofer. It's nearly 5 feet tall. And part of the reason for that is in order to get those really, really low and hard-hitting bass, you have to have an enclosure that's going to match the speaker size. And the more wattage you put into things, the more cabinet enclosures are so important. I understand you can't put a 5 foot tall or even like, it's even hard to get like a 1 or 1.5 cubic foot box in some of these cars because you try to make things fit. And I get that. So I'm not super critical on that. But if you go to Bang & Olufsen's website or you read the media releases for Ford, I was expected to be absolutely blown away by this speaker system. I'm a little bit underwhelmed, to be honest with you. Now, having said that, and that's just because I read the hype too, right? 560 watts, I don't know if that's peak or RMS, but either way, with the 10 speaker system and all the, research they did into this, I was really thinking this is gonna be, beyond top of the line. And like I said, just a little bit underwhelmed. It is good. Straight out of the box, what I did is I just slowly notched up the treble 1 click, I guess, if you will. It felt a little flat to me. Mid-range seems to be dominating. Voices and things like that seem to be more powerful, so I just bumped up the treble 1, and that sort of brightened it up a bit, and I think it's where it should be, at least for my ears now, so I'm much happier with that. Overall, I've listened to it at some reference quality levels. I like a lot of different music. So I listen to everything from rock, hip hop, some electronic, country. So I really listen to a lot of everything. And I feel like the system's got a pretty good balance overall. One of my benchmarks is I like to listen to Lindsey Sterling Crystallize. And if you're not familiar with her, she is a violinist, but in this particular song, she incorporates some dubstep. So it's got some electronic beats along with the violin. And, the bass response is really good in this particular song in this vehicle. And like right now I'm parked, and that's when I think you really got to test your benchmarks out. There really shouldn't be road noise. There shouldn't be a lot of fan noise going on with the HVAC system. And so that's what I did. The violin sounds very, very nice. The melodies are great. And when the bass comes in and kicks and gets pretty low, without having a frequency response counter or anything in the car or an oscilloscope to see where it's at, the lows sound really good. I used to do some DJing, and in my Fruity Loops program, I had some beats that I had recorded at 20 hertz. And, you start getting that low, and this car really does lack in the low performance, which is expected when you have a smaller driver and a smaller enclosure. But the sweet spot, which I suppose you could imagine, is probably, in my opinion, right around that 50 hertz for bass. So any of those lower kicks you know, from like a bass drum or something, sound pretty good. Speaking of Dave Matthews Band, Ants Marching, when it opens up with the rim shots and the snare, those are nice and crisp. And those mid-range drivers, like in the door there, they do a really good job at accurately representing those. And then, of course, when Dave comes in singing acoustically, it sounds very good as well. I used to build audio systems. All my vehicles, I used to build audio systems in them. MB Court, Kicker, Alpine stuff. I would do all the wiring and everything. Kind of funny that one of the things we used to have and be worried about is when the bass kicked in, sometimes your headlights would dim if you didn't have like at least a 5 farad capacitor or something to complement the power draw. With a 90 kilowatt hour battery, I don't think that's an issue. Even though I'm pretty sure this stereo system draws on the auxiliary power still, it hasn't been a problem. So just speaking in regards to the speakers, now I'm not talking about the infotainment system at all, just the speakers, it's very good. It really is. Slightly underwhelmed, yes, but in my truck, I have the premium Bose system in my LTZ Silverado. This is better, by far acoustically better on pretty much all ends. In our Toyota Highlander, that's got a JBL system, better than that, for sure. I know that they're trying to go for like a real immersive experience, having the sound bar up front, and I get that. Again, I just keep going back to my car audio days where, you know, we have door speakers and we usually don't separate the tweeter, you know, more than the distance of the diameter of the cone, or at least no more than like 2.5 times that distance. So like in the back where they're putting the tweeter way up here, you know, that kind of gets me. And it's sort of the same thing up here, is it really feels like there's like a full length of sound, almost like if you put your head in front of a full length sound bar for a home theater. So there's like, it feels like there's no area for me to focus on and like, yeah, that's where that sound is coming from. So not necessarily a bad thing, it's just very unique. It'll take me a little bit of getting used to, but from just a sound standpoint, again, I am happy with it. Slightly underwhelmed, yes, but I think for this car, it's an excellent system. It really is. If you've heard it before, let me know what you think. How does it compare to some other models of vehicles that you've been in? Where do you think this is lacking? Do you think I'm completely off base in saying I'm just, maybe even just a little bit underwhelmed? I'd like to hear from you. So let me know what you think about the stereo. If you've had any issues, again, not infotainment, just the speakers, be sure to let us know. Otherwise, be sure to comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.